Hello everybody and welcome back to the second channel where we do basically this video once a year and not much else, and maybe we'll eventually think about utilizing it for something, but we've been saying that for the past 6 years now, so I wouldn't really bank on that personally. But regardless, it's time for the NFL playoff prediction. Right now we're going to start because the season ended and we've got some interesting matchups here, and we're going to dive into it. So we'll start off with the NFC. You have the Panthers, who got in at 8-9, hosting the LA Rams, who probably you could make the case are the best team in the NFC despite not winning the division. So long as they're playing complete. They haven't had Devontae Adams for a few weeks, and it's kind of showed. Rams are going to take it, though. Devontae's coming back, and the Panthers, they're very physical. We've seen upsets before where the team that has finished like below 500, the Panthers in 2014, for example, although they faced a reeling Cardinals team. And then you had the Seahawks back in 2010 with the infamous Beastquake game against the Saints. But the Rams will likely take that game. And then you have the Eagles facing off against the 49ers. This game's going to be interesting. Seems like the Eagles have taken a little bit of a step back from last season. The 49ers haven't been playing all that well as of late, despite the fact that they have bounced back from the previous season where they kind of just took the season off due to injury. They've got a lot of injuries now, and they're still hanging in there for sure. But the Eagles, it seems like they kind of packed it up. They kind of just decided, okay, we're just going to lose. We're going to put our backup quarterback out there, get the 3 seed, no matter what happens. And as a result, I think that the Eagles, maybe resting their starters, could have actually benefit them against the 49ers, who haven't really looked all that great lately. I think the Eagles are going to go out there, narrowly take that game. Then you have the Bears against the Packers. The Packers are a 7 seed, but they're actually favored against the Bears. I think the Packers are going to win this game, and I'll tell you why. Because the Bears have a very unsustainable turnover rate. They get a lot of these last-minute comeback victories, and maybe they could get one against the Packers because, Micah Parsons, he's out for the season. But still, I just genuinely believe that the Bears are kind of fake in a way. They are a better team than last year, that's true, but they get by on turnovers. That's not going to happen. And so does Jacksonville, by the way, which brings us to the AFC. I think the Bills are going to win the first round against Jacksonville. We'll see if this is the year that they can get to the Super Bowl, because it seems like we've predicted them a few times over the years, and they always lose to Kansas City. Kansas City's not in the playoffs anymore. Also, Drake May, MVP candidate, facing the Chargers. The Chargers, sorry, LA, but they are headed for another first-round exit. I'm sure all 7 fans are going to be very upset about that one. And then you have the Steelers facing the Texans. Aaron Rodgers, he's back in the playoffs. This could be his final season, and honestly could be his final game. Texans defense is on fire. Steelers on offense, except for the Lions game, doesn't seem like they have that firepower to go out there and win against a defense like the Texans. Texans just need to have a halfway decent game. They always do well in the first round historically. They don't do well past that. Could this be the year where they get to the conference championship game? We'll find out. But the NFC here, you have a rematch between the Rams and the Eagles. They had that game in the snow last season where the Rams, they had the ball, they were driving, they couldn't get it done. They will get it done this time, as the other MVP candidate, Matthew Stafford, he will put on a masterclass performance against the reeling Eagles. He will advance to the NFC title game. And then you have the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Packers. I still believe Sam Darnold is overhyped. I don't think he can, really get them to the promised land, but I do think he can get them a home playoff game against the Packers. We've seen how many good matchups between the Packers and Seattle over the years. You had the we take the ball, we're going to score game in the 2000s. You saw the 2007 matchup in the playoffs. They saw each other again in 2014 in that NFC title game where the Packers just melted down. We saw them face off in 2019, and we're seeing them face off again here. But I think the Seahawks will get the best of the Packers because Packers are just, Jordan Love is not going to be able to face that defense. I think the defense will carry them, but we'll kind of break down the NFC title game there, division matchup that we'll see. And then on the AFC side, you will see the Patriots take on the Texans. And honestly, this is, I think, another instance of the Texans just going down in the divisional round. Patriots will advance. They will get to that AFC title game. Then you have Bills-Broncos. Broncos are a solid team. Not trying to take that away from them, but I think this could be against, the Bills especially, another year where a 1 seed just falls in that divisional round. And we've seen this happen. We saw it with the Lions last year. Doesn't mean the Broncos' window's necessarily closing, but I think the Bills, it's do or die for them. You don't have to deal with the Ravens. You don't have to deal with the, I guess you would say the Kansas City Chiefs this time around. I think that this is the year where I actually think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I think the Rams are also going to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think Seattle has what it takes to get it done with Sam Darnold under center in a NFC title game. The Rams, I think, if they're going to be gelling, they've got the momentum. They're a little bit better than their record. Seattle, maybe not as good as their record. Maybe they've gotten lucky. Not as lucky as Chicago, but still. And then on the AFC side, that's going to be a really good game. I think the Bills could win it in overtime. This could be the time where, they get to go to the Super Bowl, where they lost 4 straight in the 90s, and while Josh Allen on the big stage is definitely something, I will pick Stafford to get his second ring. I just think the Rams are a very complete team. You got Jared Verse on that defense making plays. You've got, an offense that has just a receiver, all these people, receiver on receiver, that Stafford just going to be able to, be that gunslinger too. You've got Devontae. You've got all these other people in the mix. Puka, that's a big one. And then the Bills, they're a solid team. I just think I would take LA over the Bills. So we'll see how well this ages. This is actually a lot harder to predict than elections are to predict, because any given Sunday, you can't really say that with, elections where you have like polling data that will influence the outcome, or things like the data, the early vote data, where it kind of shows which way a race is going or certain trends. Like, you could predict it, but you could have wild upsets in football the way that you really can't have in electoral politics. So again, if it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. But I did want to drop this video before the first round. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Like and subscribe before you go as well. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle out.